In this video, I'll be showing how to export 3D information such as lights and cameras from Blender and use them in After Effects. This does require installing an extension called Export Adobe After Effects. Let's start with that. An easy way to install this extension is to go to Preferences, Get Extensions. You need to enable online searching, and then you could search After, and then this is the Export Adobe After Effects, and we'll install that. And there you go. Once you do that, when you go to File, Export, you should see that as a new option at the bottom, Adobe After Effects.jsx. There is another way to install this, but I think it's not quite as direct. Basically, you can go search for this extension online, and from there, there's a button to download, drag and drop the extension. You can bring it into your Blender file that way. So after we've installed this extension, then we can start working on our Blender file, and we'll try to export from here. So I'm going to pull a new window just from the corner, just so I can see what my camera is seeing here. And maybe what I'll do is do something like add some lights in here, move them around, and then maybe do a little bit of animation of the camera so that I can see how that looks like. So I'm going to place a light on this side. I'm going to go down to the settings for this down here. So let me just do something like change the color a little bit. I can increase the size of that. Oh, I also want to make sure that I am in the right mode here. So I want to be at least on material preview, or actually I want to be on rendered because I want to see the effect of the light. So you can see that there. Maybe I'll make a new light, Shift A. I'll go down to light. Let's do another point light. So we'll move this one, and you can, oops, we just hit the point light and then kind of move it. You can see that's affecting the side. The strength is pretty low, so let me put that up a little bit. And you can see that's affecting that. And if we wanted to color it a little bit, give it a different kind of treatment, we could do that. So okay, so that we have that set up, and maybe I'll just do a simple thing like animating the camera a little bit. Let's go up to here. I'm gonna go forward in time a little bit and maybe just keyframe all of these positions, and then I will kind of move this, maybe move it out, just see what it looks like that. Maybe I want it along the x-axis, so I can pull it back like this, and then along the y-axis a little bit, so maybe it comes in like that. I'll keyframe all these, so we have this set up like that, and then maybe at the very end it will move up a little bit, and that object goes off screen. So yeah, right now that looks like about 113 frames. All right, so what I want to do now is anything I want in the scene, I'm going to select, so I can select all of these things. And then I'll go to Export, File, Export, and because I've installed that extension, I now have this Adobe After Effects option. Now this is going to export as a script, like a JavaScript. So let me go into here, and I'm going to call this our Adobe After Effects export. Okay, and then on here you can see what it's gonna export. So I definitely want the scene camera. I think everything else I can keep, like the animation. One thing to note is that this cube isn't really going to come in correctly. This is more like more helpful if you're just trying to get the lights and the cameras. I'll show you what I mean once I open up After Effects. So in After Effects, we have a new file, and we're going to run that script that was created. So File, Scripts, run the script file. And let's grab this one right here. It's going to ask to make a composition name, so After Effects export, or whatever you want to call it. And you can see what happened is this is the composition that was exported. Here you have some different things. This cube is coming in as a solid, so when you actually view this, it's a solid like this, so you're not actually seeing the geometry. But what is nice is that if you open this up, the camera keyframes are all embedded in here, and these lights actually do have, if you open up the light options, that color and the intensity in there. So if you put an object in here, for example, if we wanted to import like an FBX or a GLB file, so here is a GLB. We could bring that into here. Now, when you will view stuff in 3D, it's going to tell you to use the advanced 3D renderer. So we can bring that in, and you can see that came in. Now, be aware that we had to switch from classic to advanced 3D to see this. We can move this around. The lights are, I would say the lights aren't, it's not going to be as nice as rendering from Cycles or something from Blender. So if you really want a nice quality blender, you probably want to actually export the footage and then bring it in. But at least you can see here we have this object tracked in 3D space now. I'm just gonna try to rotate this a little bit. I just want to show you that the lights are working on it. One thing to keep in mind, however, is that this object does have a material on it, which is affecting color, and also the lights, when they're translated from Blender, are a little bit too strong, so they might not work as you would expect. In fact, you can see the lights are really blowing out on this 3D model. If we wanted to use something like this cube with just a white material on it and default material, I've exported one already, so I'm going to bring that in. It's just this GLB. You can see it's a cube, and I can bring this into here. Maybe I'll just call it cube, and I'm going to scale it down a little bit. But at least here you can see the effect of the lights on this here. And again, the lighting won't be quite as nice as it will be out of Blender. And I did have to turn this intensity down because I think it was at like 8,000, which was just blowing it out. So you might have to adjust some things here. But the nice thing is that, you have the camera keyframes in here. You have the lights set up. So you can kind of composite within here if you use this method. If we wanted to export something else out of Blender, for example, this is the monkey Suzanne. Really all you need to do, just to show you the process, is go to export, and I did GLTF, and I exported that, and then in my After Effects file you can see I was able to bring this in. Let me turn off the cube that I had, and I just did a little bit of keyframing for the rotation. So that is down here. You can see. And what's nice about this is, like, since I'm in After Effects now, I can maybe use the graph editor or other tools that I'm maybe more used to. So this is what that looks like. Oh, sorry, I turned that cube back in there. So this is what that looks like. And you can see the lighting. I have some lighting that I brought in from Blender, a key light and a fill light, and that's all working on this scene. Again, I did turn down the intensity so that this wouldn't get blown out. I think originally it was really getting blown out, like it's really too strong. So now let's see what this would look like if we were rendering like higher quality footage, like maybe with Cycles, but then also combining this with the cameras and the lighting. So I have a little scene here, and I've just animated the camera kind of pushing in. I think right now I actually have it lit with an HDRI, but maybe I want to light this with some actual lights in the scene. So I can go into here and maybe just delete this. I think that's going to get rid of all my lights, and just maybe add some lights in here. So I'll go to light. Let's move that to the side. I do want to see this with my lighting now. Whoops, I should get rid of this. We just kind of move the light around. Here we'll do like 1000, and I think I did have another light in the scene, so I think this might be okay. Let's just take a look. That light's a little bit bright. I'll move it up here and maybe make the radius a little bit bigger so it's not, it doesn't have that big of a kind of spotlight. Okay, so I've already set this up to be rendered out into a folder, and I'll render this animation, and then I'll take those rendered files and then combine them with the exported files. Okay, so I'll render my animation, and this is going to take a little bit of time. And again, to get all the cameras and the lights, let's just select everything to be safe. Go to export and go to Adobe After Effects. We can call it, yeah, it's fine. All right, so to get started with that render and the file, the assets from Blender, I'll go to File, Scripts, Run Script File. I have this JavaScript file that I've set up. This is the folder or the composition that was created, and you can see that we are just kind of moving forward. Again, you can't see the 3D objects in the scene. You can see the lights, and you can see kind of the movement of the camera. If we hit U to open this up, you can see the keyframes. And so what I'm going to do now is bring in my footage. I have a PNG sequence that I rendered from Blender. It's V3, and then the frame number comes right after that. So I did 90 frames. I'm going to make sure I do a PNG sequence. Now that's brought in as an animation, and what I can do is bring that into this. Now this is coming in as a 2D layer, and that's actually all I need. Remember, 3D cameras and lights only work on 3D layers, so this is not going to affect it, but you can see I have the camera moving, matching the camera for this footage. So what I can do is bring in a 3D layer, or maybe I'll bring in like this type, Portland State. Let's start off as like kind of a gray. Oops, let me select that first before I change that color. And whoops, maybe we'll just put this at 960, that's like in the middle, and then turn on the 3D layer. So you can see that's happening there. Now, all the any 3D object, you want to go into 3D materials and just make sure that you know, you turn on the items that you want. Like you could turn off the accepting lights by hitting this, or accepting shadows. So I think this is okay. There's even like a metalness that you could play with, but yeah, so far that looks okay to me. I do think the lights are blowing out this type, but I'm not going to worry about it. You can move this in 3D space, pull it back, or maybe I need to scale this a little bit, and maybe I actually want it close to the camera in the beginning. So you can see, I mean, you might want to match this. So what's nice about seeing this right here, again, actually, if I do want lights on it, I think I should put it to advanced 3D. You can see the markers. So this, that's the plane in the back, and you can see sort of like generally where things are. You can see where the mesh is. And then there's this cube, you know, that would be around here. So if you want to match up, let's say, if you want to match up the position of things, you could do it that way. You can also, you know, look at things from the top to get an idea of where you're positioning things relative to that. So you can kind of see what that looks like. Now that, right now, you can see it's actually tracking the motion of those spheres, and this kind of lets me know that I probably need this to be closer to the camera. This is the text, because I don't want it to be on the same plane, otherwise it's going to look like it's overlapping. And I'm going to go back to my active camera view. and maybe you want to lift it up a little bit or do something like that. And then, yeah, this is basically what happens. We could animate this as well. So maybe it starts like this and then it moves past the screen. Put a little easing on there, go into the graph editor. So this, at least, you know, when you combine these techniques together, let's say we have our 3D rendered scene from Blender and we use cycles, so we wanted this to be a higher quality. You can't get this level of quality coming out of After Effects. It needs to be pre-rendered, but then we are using the After Effects extension to export these cameras and these lights, and and also some of this 3D data, so that we can kind of place things in the scene and actually composite with it and make these scenes more complex. And it's also nice to just have more control out of After Effects. I don't have to re-render stuff unless I end up really wanting to change the lighting or the camera. But once we're in here, there's so much that we can change directly in After Effects.